Hello, dear lovely listeners. Welcome back to Dinaj's English podcast. Today is the fifth podcast. I've invited once again one of my lovely nieces, Tasneem Jannat Eva, who I always love to address Tasneem because this sounds great. So today we'll be talking about the importance of reading books. So do you like to read books? If you like that, I think this podcast is for you. And I'll ask Tasneem a number of questions about the importance of reading books, and she'll answer accordingly. I think you will be benefited from and practice listening to. If your English level is A1, A2, B1, or B2, I think this podcast will help you understand and the importance of reading books in detail. So Tasneem, my niece, will answer according to the questions I will be asking. I think our conversation will help you understand what we should read and what we should not. Should we actually read or not? So without any delay, we should welcome our special guest, Tasneem. So, Tasneem, how do you feel to be here today?
Thanks so much, my uncle, Misty Mama, for having me once again. And dear listeners, I'm really grateful that you liked my earlier podcast.
Sounds really great. So first of all, I'm going to ask you a question about your favorite hobby. So, do you have any favorite hobby?
Yeah, reading books is one of my favorite hobbies because reading books can help me gain knowledge and I want to be a knowledgeable person.
Wow, wonderful. I wish you all the best for your journey, and you should continue reading books as much as you can. You should not stop. And dear listeners, you should do the same. If you have a hobby like Tasneem's, that's fine. I appreciate that. If you have something different, no problem. I also appreciate that. At least you should have something that you like most. Or reading as a hobby can be the best, for example. Anyway, Tasneem, what's your favorite book?
The Holy Quran is my most favorite book. There are a number of reasons behind that. First of all, the holy verses are directly from the Almighty Allah. Second of all, it helps me to shape myself and purify myself because I know what is right and what is wrong, and I can follow the right path. And this helped me be a good human being and a good Muslim. And finally, I think I can be successful here in the earth and hereafter.
MashaAllah, sounds really lovely. I'm really happy for you. Dear listeners, have you heard that? Everyone should go for the Holy Quran. This is something where we can find the right path, and she said the right information to know the difference between right and wrong. And everyone knows that. I know we should go for the Holy Quran. There is no alternative and there is nothing beyond that. But still, many of us don't read. You can go for at least the translated version of that based on your native language. At least try to know what's good and what's bad. So I think if we can be knowledgeable enough from the Holy Quran and we can stay away from potential dangers from the society or any kind of unexpected problems that are likely to happen. So remember to read the Holy Quran almost every day if possible to be successful here in the earth and hereafter. So let's move on to the next question. I'm going to ask Tasneem the types of books she loves to read. Tasneem, what kind of books do you like to read most?
I think I should go for the academic books first because I want to be a good student and these help me to learn more. Besides, I read non-fictions and these help me a lot to be a knowledgeable person, I guess.
Thank you so much. I think I'm inspired a bit. So dear listeners, have you heard she just mentioned non-fictions? I think you're quite familiar with that, if I'm not wrong. If you don't know, let me know through the comment section below. As a good reader, to be a top-notch reader, you should read, and read. There is no shortcut to be a successful person in the world. Non-fictions, these are not only the books you should go for. It totally depends on you. If you like fictions, for example, instead, you can definitely read those. Academic books might be boring to many. Yeah, it's true. For me, earlier when I was a student of school, I thought the same way. And now I realize these books are fundamental and we should stick to the academic books first because as a student, these should be the first priority. Without reading the academic books, I think we cannot be knowledgeable enough. We can't cut a good figure in the exam. And eventually, we will suffer a lot. The CGPA will be lower. After all, You should have a thirst for knowledge. The books can be academic, fictions, or non-fictions, or something different. Make sure to read the books you want to read, you love to read. These will amazingly help, there is no doubt. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Dear listeners, for your information, I'd like to remind you we are talking about the importance of reading books. So now, Tasnim, how often do you read the books you love?
I almost always read the books I love because I want to be a knowledgeable person, as I've said already. And I think reading helps me to be a smart person. Yeah, I know it's a bit challenging to read the books all the time because of my study, academic activities, and other skills I want to acquire, such as being multilingual. FYI, I'm currently learning the French language. However, I try my level best to read 10 pages in a day.
Wow, you're amazing. The more I listen to you, the more impressed I've been. I think my listeners feel the same. Wonderful. I don't want to talk too much today because Tasnim is the special guest. She is trying to share her ideas, the way she passes her time, reading books, quality time she has with her lovely books. She loves to read, for example, non-fictions, academic books. For your information, I'm just highlighting those because today's topic is the importance of reading books. I know that the students today are not that much focusing on reading. That's why they are lagging themselves behind. They are not cutting a good figure in the exam, or ultimately they are not being knowledgeable. You know that in order to be a smart person, you have to read. There is no alternative. Yeah, of course, there's something alternative you may find, but reading books definitely helps. So now I'm going to ask another question. Tasnim, as far as I'm concerned, reading helps to be a good writer and a good speaker as well. So do you agree that reading helps to be a good writer and a good speaker?
Certainly. If one wants to be a good writer and a good speaker, one should start reading immediately. In my opinion, there is no alternative. You're listening to me right now. How can I do that? There is no mystery. My uncle suggested me read, and read. And that's what I'm doing right now. Honestly speaking, I was totally unable to speak a few days back. Because of reading a lot, I can write and speak spontaneously, and I think it's a piece of cake for me now, and I'm quite flexible with it. And I highly recommend you should do the same.
Dear listeners, I think you've got the point Tasnim has just highlighted. I'm the witness here. When I started reading, though I didn't want to, because of my professor's advice, they were always telling us to read, but we didn't take care of that. Yeah, this happens to everybody, I'm sure, those who are listening to me right now. When we are students, we don't realize the importance of reading books, but later we can understand. So if you're on the right track, I do appreciate that you should continue doing so. But those who are on the wrong track, I think you should come back and try and start reading something that you love reading. I can guarantee you will be the smartest person ever. You will be amazed at your performance. You will be astonished. Don't you believe me? Start reading from today. Anyway, you may be asking something, how can I read? Because I have lots of duties, I'm a job holder, I'm a student, I have business, so many activities I have to do. So how can I read? How can I manage my time? Well, listen to me. If you're highly interested in doing something, you can still manage the time. I've already talked about utilizing the time in my very first podcast. If you didn't listen to me, you can go for that or check the I button over there or check the description below. You can listen to that. Utilizing time is very important. So I'm not going to talk about that in detail, but today I'm just focusing on the importance of reading books. If you show excuses, I think these won't help you much. So rather focusing on something else too much, you can manage time for reading books as well. Because success lies there. Being smartness lies there. Being knowledgeable lies there. Ultimate success depends on how much you read. In my opinion, because it's not my opinion only, many of my professors suggested they are expert in that field. As they have suggested, why shouldn't we take care of? So I think we should not waste our valuable time. We should start reading immediately because of the blessings, because of the outcomes. Anyway, you may be also asking, I have lots of academic books. I can't manage time as well because I don't have enough time for. I think you're wrong. If you are passionate about reading, you can still manage your time. Yeah, academic books we were talking about definitely help. But at the same time, you may focus on other books as well. It could be non-fictions or fictions or novels, for example. I mean, anything you like. Short stories could be okay as well. No matter what, make sure to read something. So we should happily read something. Finally, I think I can talk about something about being a top-notch reader. Would you like to be a top-notch reader? Yeah, who doesn't want to be? I think I'm not a top-notch reader still, but I'm trying my best to be, and you can do the same. How can we do that? There is no alternative, as I've said already. Read, read, and read. Definitely you can be a top-notch reader. So reading helps in many ways. To be specific, you can understand that you can learn new vocabularies that you don't know based on the contents and the context. If you can successfully observe the writing, I think you will be able to understand how the writer organizes the ideas and the grammatical patterns he or she uses and the vocabularies. Ultimately, you will be the gainer. You can even write. That's what we were talking about. To be a good writer, we should read. On the other hand, we can also be a good speaker. We can generate ideas. And of course, wise choice of words is important. So through reading, I think we can nail that very easily. Eventually, everything will be a piece of cake. In short, in order to be a good reader, you have to stick to it. Be consistent on that, because you know that the consistency is the key. If you don't like to read books, I think you can give it a try, reading something that you feel attracted to and you like most, or maybe you think may help you be knowledgeable, and I know that this will lead to be a smart person. So before going, Tasnim, would you like to say something to my dear listeners, especially for reading?
I think I've already said a lot of information. I just want to remind everyone that you should continue reading as much as you can based on your preferences. I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for being with us.
So we are so pleased, Tasnim, you have managed your valuable time. I know that you're busy with your study and homework, and of course, you are learning the French language, and I think you deserve to be an example for many, because many students I know, they don't like to study, don't like to read, but you are trying your level best. This is really praiseworthy, and I wish you all the best. May Almighty Allah help you be successful and fulfill your dreams. So finally, dear listeners, if you like this podcast, you may share with your friends and family members who you think should be benefited from knowing the importance of reading books. So this is it for today, and we'll be talking about something else in the next podcast. If you would like to suggest something, drop a comment below, and I'll try to make a podcast based on that. Thank you so much for being with us today. Bye now.